So this very interesting video crossed my feed, and I think it's very, very important because I think it's something that I relate to. So we're gonna pull it up right now. So lock this, give it some love, and of course it'll be in the description. I want you to check this out real quick. This is very interesting stuff. This video is why am I 30 years old and working a dead retail job?
Hey bro, why are you in this situation? Why are you 30 years old working at 7-Eleven? What happened in your life that's so horrible? What happened to you? And honestly, man, I don't know. I don't know what happened to me. I just finally kind of woke up at like last year, because when I was 20, 21, it was cool. I was working at 7-Eleven, but I ended up going to Starbucks. I was on this really good track. I was going to COD. I was killing my classes, right? And growing up, I had my uncle who I lived with, who's dead now, so I can talk about this story. This guy was like a severe alcoholic, right? And
what people don't realize is the years roll by. Like you'll think at 19, 20, 21, 22, well, I won't be here forever. I won't be working at this store forever. And then suddenly you're 30, and then you realize you're going to be working here forever. And it's a terrifying realization.
When I mean severe alcoholic, he would wake up, pour some Grey Goose into his coffee, and then go to work. Now, normally, this would be kind of normal, right? Maybe that's my worldview, but I know tons of people who like drinking at work. I'm not saying that's a good thing. Obviously, it's really stupid, and driving drunk is horrible.
Yep.
But that's what he would do. And the thing is, I can say this now because he's dead, and there's no risk of anything. But he used to drive the local bus as a bus driver. Raging alcoholic, right? He would wake up like shaking. Like I remember.
That's insane.
There's videos on my channel that I made like outside waiting for him, like with my mom, taking him to like detox centers and shit. But this guy was a major alcoholic. And so we started hanging out a lot because I grew up with him. And every time we'd be on the road, he'd be like, come on, Ian, let's drink. Let's take a shot. And we'd do it. And we would just hang out. We'd drink. And I was a minor at this time. I was underage. And it kind of always was with me. Like alcohol is like this great thing. Like you could do it socially. And it's just fantastic, right? Like it makes everything better. And I'm like, even when you're just doing things everyday life, it's so much better. So as time went on, I was working at Starbucks. And I would drink like a lot, but never at work, right? Like I had lines. I wouldn't cross them. I would later, but not this time.
I got to imagine, this is kind of off topic. It's on his topic, but I got to imagine, you know, as I didn't drink, I don't think I even started drinking until I was almost out of Gamestop. Like I hadn't even drank yet until my last year at GameStop, probably like casually. And man, I bet it does help people get through the day. It's something you should easily never do, obviously, but I could understand it becoming a crutch just to survive the day.
And COVID hit, man. And I remember Gavin Newsom here in California was like, we're locking down. Everything's closed down immediately. I jetted to the liquor store, dude. I remember being in my car, seeing the alert, already kind of drinking. And I'm like, let's go. And I just went, I spent all the money I had, which was like $200. I bought like 3 packs of Newport menthols and all the Jack Daniels I could buy.
Oh my God.
And we went into lockdown, and it was great because then Starbucks, I didn't need to work. They paid me to stay home. So pick up Starbucks for that. And so my whole thing was, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to like drink this whole, and so I was just drinking. I would wake up and just drink, like no water, no food.
Uh-oh, my guy's starting a bad pattern here.
Just alcohol. I didn't know anything at the time. Like I'm not the brightest bulb, you know, and I never put these things together. I know about it now. I know what alcohol withdrawal is now, right? But at the time, I had no idea. So I finally go back to work, and we have this meeting, and all of my friends are there from work, and we're sitting, and I'm getting like super anxious because I'm not drinking at the time, and we're just talking about COVID, and like I start getting like real jittery, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I go outside and take a shot in the car because I always had alcohol on me, and then I felt normal again. And then we finally got back to work. I started working in my shifts, and like I would have problems standing. Like I would get so dizzy, I would like lose consciousness for a second, where I'd be like, oh shit, and be like grounded again.
Oh, my God was gone bad. He was gone bad, dude.
And I was like, I only know one thing that can fix this, right? Jetted out to my car. Hey, man, I'm going to take a 10. I need to take a 10. I got to call somebody real quick. I got to go make a phone call. All right, bro, go ahead. Go up to the car, take a shot, have a cigarette, relax, right? And it got to the point to where I was ready. I saved up a lot of money during COVID. I was ready to buy a van. I was going to start van life. And I did. I bought a van. It's on the channel. It turned in like to like the drinking mobile, right? Like I just had that thing stocked up. I wasn't drinking and driving like that. But I would just stay in there, and I could drink wherever. You could park, and you could drink, and you could sleep, and you could wake up. And slowly but surely, my life became like miserable, right? Like everything messed up. I have the video of me walking out of Starbucks.
This seems absolutely terrifying for that to become a crutch in a retail situation. Oh my gosh, dude. I can't even imagine.
But my routine was I would wake up early before work. I would go to 7-Eleven, buy a 12-pack of White Claws, put in the ice in the van, have 3 before work, put 3 in my hydro flask, have 3 during, have another one on my 10, have 2 more, and by the time I got out of work, I'd be done with the White Claws.
Oh my
But
God.
I wouldn't be drunk. I wouldn't be sloshed, right? I'd just be existing because I wouldn't really get drunk anymore. And this turned into a major problem for me because when I would try to stop, I couldn't stop. So it was an endless cycle of like, why am I like twitching? Why?
This happens fast too. By the way, he looks like Topher Grace. Like probably last year, I started drinking more casually for a short period of time. It was like maybe, I don't know, August and September probably. I was drinking like 3 days a week, and it started becoming like I wouldn't get hangovers, and I would just Tuesday and Thursday and like Sunday I would drink. And I did that for like 2 months. And I was like, wait a second. Cause I started getting to the point where I was like, I really want to drink. And as soon as my like consciousness understood that I wanted to drink, I was like, nope, I'm quitting. And then I didn't. October, I think the end of October, I quit for 4 or 5 months. And I was like, all right, cool. And I like reintroduced it like once a week, maybe less. And I'm like, all right, cool. But as soon as you start recognizing that pattern and your brain says, hey man, you want to drink? I think the situation to where you should notice it's starting to get kind of spicy is when you like, man, I really need a drink right now. That's when you're like, oh shit. That's when you're starting to develop something. Maybe not a problem, because I know a lot of people just like drinking, but I think it's a slippery slope, man. You know what I'm saying?
And I just couldn't understand. I didn't know what to think, right? And I didn't have any support system. My uncle died in 2020 that year, and I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have anybody to talk to. I didn't have anybody to ask about it. Everything was closed. It was COVID. So it just got worse. And I quit my job at Starbucks. Then I went to Target and I started drinking there, and Walgreens, and I was drinking there. And I'm like, you know what? This is enough. I went to another 7-Eleven and I started drinking there. Everything was going bad. I was broke at one time. I remember I had no money, dude. I started like taking shots of like all the Listerine that I had. Like that's how addicted I was.
Oh my God. Down bad. That's rough.
And finally, I had enough, man. I went to the hospital, and I finally figured out you can go to the hospital and you can get these things called benzos, and they get rid of the withdrawal like completely. And I would do it, and I'd be like, all right, but I still want to drink, so I would go drink the next week.
Yeah, drinking is as much physical as it is mental, and also the fact that you develop this routine, and when you have this routine, the routine is just as addictive as the mental and physical properties of it. It's kind of a strange thing.
Finally, the doctor's like, look, dude, you're not learning, you're not getting it. This is the last time I'm doing this. I was like, all right, man, that's it. Like, I'm done. That was like a couple years ago, and I've drank since now, but now I'm in control. Like, now I can kick it. I have like a few beers, and I'm fine. I've learned now what caused my addiction, how I fixed it, and things that I would never do again, right? Like, there's not a part of me now that says, after a night of drinking, I wake up and like, let's go have beer. Like, that's just not who I am anymore.
That's exactly it. That's the thing. It's when you start feeling like that, when you start feeling, man, I need to drink. I have to drink. I need to drink. I want to drink. Like it's like a physical pull. That's when you got some shit going on.
It took a lot, man, because I remember looking at myself and being like, bro, this is what you're going to be. You're going to be a homeless, degenerate guy on the street, opening up doors for people, asking for money just so you can drink and just die with like doing nothing. And so I had a conversation with my friend Robert, and the other day he was talking about trauma and like, you know, that's why you work so hard because you have this trauma. And it's like, no offense to anybody who has trauma. That's not what I'm talking about right now. This was a conversation I had with myself back in 2022. And I was like, you just got to get it together because you need to work hard. I've always had a hard work ethic. I don't know where that's from. I'm very lazy, but I love to work hard. And I just needed to fix it for myself because there was it. I was going to die. And I've been on YouTube now for 15 years, man.
It's good that he's starting to get a lot of attention right now too, because it really feels good when people respond positively to what you have to say. You know what I'm saying?
And it's like, who would have known that working at 7-Eleven would have been the key to like my content blowing up? Because I've tried a lot of different things. And honestly, I was in car camping and I loved it, but it died out. Now working at 7-Eleven, I've always enjoyed it. I don't know why. I just do. And I'm having a lot of fun making the content. And that's what it is, man. That's the story. That's why. And now I'm getting my life together at 30 years old.
That's not too late either, man. You know, when my divorce happened, I was 27. And I was like, no, I'm too old for this to happen. I was definitely not. My life began at freaking 29, 28.
Wham! I'm not crying about it, right? I'm not doing that. It's just sometimes it happens, man. So if you feel like you're a failure and a loser, you might be, because like that's just how life happens sometimes, man. And so a lot of the time I feel like a loser and a failure, and it's good motivation to not do that and to not want to be that, because it's a horrible feeling having no money in the world and having to go to a job you hate, and just it's all bad, man. Like that.
And he could have went in a different direction. That's the scary part, is if you let that alcohol rule you, you might go in a different direction. And that's the scariest part about everything. What happens if you go in a different direction? You know what I'm saying? Then suddenly you're done. You know what I'm saying? Completely done. It's freaking terrifying. But yeah, I hope he keeps growing. That's cool to see. And he had a really cool story about the drinking thing, and getting through the drinking thing is very important as well.